are tuned in to another episode of Finding Life Podcast, Gen Z Coaching Corner. Real conversations that challenge how we think, live, and love. I'm Life, alongside Coach John, and together we explore what really matters. Today's episode, Messing Up Doesn't Mean You're Messed Up, featuring Glambition Gen Z's founder, Micaiah Dion. We're talking resilience, recovery, and what it really means to separate your mistakes from your identity and start again. Let's get into it. All right, boom, here we go. Listen, welcome to another episode of Finding Life Next Gen Z. I'm really excited today. We have the Gen Z founder here with us, joining us on, she's sitting on a pink couch, and we are having her in and just kind of continuing to chop it up and go through these I'm not even gonna call them modules, but these episodes and what we really talking about. And so today we just got to make sure we got Miss Micaiah Dion here with us.
Hello.
Shout out to Glambition Gen Z.
Yeah, one time for Glambition
in the house,
Gen Z. Amen.
Representing.
Hey, Glambition Gen Z. Yes.
What you say?
What you say now? So John, what we talking about?
Gen Z in the house.
What we talking about today?
All right, today we're talking about messing up doesn't mean you're messed up. Resilience and recovery.
All right, so we've been kind of having this conversation a little bit throughout. We talked to our tweens about trying again, making mistakes and what that looks like. Why are we talking about this with our teens though, John? Like shape us and create this frame for us with the conversation.
So we're talking about this to help our teens to separate failure from identity and understand how to own their mistakes, and take the power back by choosing to try again with support, reflection, and maturity.
So when I think about that, and Mickey, I want you to bring in, John and I, we talk a lot with the young guys and the fellas. And although we, I have a special dynamic because not just having daughters, but we talk with girls too. Having you here, I really want to help shape what this means and some of the mistakes our young women, our young ladies, young teen ladies kind of make, and how those mistakes impact them. One of the things that I want to ask you about specifically is, and I'm just going to dive right in, how do we help teens separate failure from identity? What does that mean when you hear that to you? Like, how do we help, like talking and dealing with your girls, some of the mistakes that they make.
Right.
And that when they make these mistakes way too often, let me just say it, way too often girls make a mistake and they get a label put on them. And that label becomes an identity that too often they create a part of and accept as a part of their new identity or whatever it is. How do we help them separate that failure or that mistake and that label and that identity?
So I think first we have to really frame, I think that word mistake is so, like, I feel like that's a societal, like, it depends on how you were raised, what determines what's a mistake and what's not. And so I think we have to to shift the perspective a little bit. Life is full of choices, right? And so choices create a result of whether we deem it as a mistake or you just took a step in a different direction, or life is just full of choices. And unfortunately, I think teen girls and teen boys now have so much freedom to make certain choices without the knowledge or proper perspectives or even wisdom to make these choices that they have so much freedom to make.
Yeah.
And so now you see, and I know what you're kind of referring to, the teen pregnancy or the teen promiscuity.
See,
or even, I'm just thinking of things that we in society deem as mistakes.
You remember we looked at one thing, and let's bring it full circle because I like to talk about relevant topics. Forever. the show Forever, right? What's the girl? I can't remember the girl's name in the show Forever, the character, but the girl in Forever, right? If we can, the mistake that she made, right? Remember the mistake that she made? And if y'all don't know, go check it out, right? Go check out the show Forever. It's a really great show, especially for teens, to talk about the dynamic of teens, the thing that they're going through and living through, and then being able to look at it from the space. That's not the right show.
It's the one on Netflix.
It's a Netflix one. And then being able to look at it from the perspective of the teen themselves, right? Yeah, what's the girl's name there? Lovey Simone.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
Yes.
That was
Keisha.
really
Keisha.
good.
Yes,
Yes.
Keisha is a character.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Keisha, if we can, so we can use
Yeah.
this character for real life situation characters of Justin.
My chat GPT, her name is
Keisha. Okay, so Keisha.
Yeah.
So now Keisha, she made a mistake, and it was she got a little tape making a decision that she made, and that tape got leaked, and it created a label for her, right? And that label, she actually, what does it mean to a lot of kids? What does it mean to accept an identity? It means to begin making choices rooted in that label.
Right, but if it's just one choice, that I don't think that should create that has nothing to do with who you are.
Right.
It's just one choice.
But that's what I'm saying. You made one decision, and now once that label gets put on you, if you continue to make more decisions rooted in that label, that's how you say
Yes,
it becomes
that
a
is
part
how
of your
you create
identity,
identity,
right?
sure.
So I want to break it down to the kids so they can understand, just like when something happens, let's go to Keisha. When that happened, she began to make a series of decisions based in that mistake. Changing schools, hiding them from her mom, like everything became, so now it began to reinforce that label, because she is reinforcing it by making decisions rooted in it and influenced by it. Instead of just owning up, I made a mistake, boom, I'm staying at the same school, I'm staying at the same, I made
Now, what I really would love to see is the thoughts that led up to that
yes,
decision.
yes,
Yeah.
but they kind of talked about it. She kind of talked about it. It was like, it came out, but her mom didn't know. She did not want her mom
No,
to
why did we
stress.
decide to make that decision to
Right. Well, she even kind of talked. Go ahead.
Well, and it's been a few months since I watched that, but it was with the guy she was with prior.
And he was
But I
like a
think-
LeBron James,
Right.
basically.
I
Yeah.
think there was a trust that they had
Yes.
that she initially thought she had with him.
Yes.
So
But should we be trusting somebody?
At that age,
which is
Yes.
true.
Yes.
Right.
But I think that was the piece in why she probably thought, oh yeah, just recording this, it should be fine because we're supposed to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and I trust that you would do, this and this and that. But then saw later on how that led to that mistake,
Yeah. It's when you talk about it, she internalized that failure so deeply, right? That because
It changed who she was.
It literally changed who she was, and a lot of kids.
Well, she allowed it to change who she was.
Say that again. What message? Because the message that they're getting, whether it's from home, from school, or social media, it really creates that internalization and how deep they're going to take it. Because unfortunately, as parents, we do kind of spew an image of who we want our child to be. And a lot of the times our child is hearing that, seeing that, and it may not be direct. It may be the way we judge another kid, or the way we're judging the TV show that we're watching, or a way that they hear us talking on the phone about a certain situation and circumstance, and they're hearing that and they're shaping the way that they feel like we feel about them, right? Or would feel about the decisions and the failures that they make. Like, oh my God, my mom is saying she a hoe and she a this and she a that because we watching TV. I just kissed my boyfriend yesterday and she gonna think that I'm a, and now they begin to internalize these mistakes or these failures so deeply. And even on the boy side, Justin had so many internalizations of failures and just insecurities that he allowed to being slow, being not as smart, right? Not as talented on the basketball court. It was so many different labels that he allowed, as to your point, Makai, is he allowed himself to live in.
But I also see in that how important intentional parenting was in that scenario, because at the same way Keisha allowed that one mistake to determine her choices moving forward, Justin had made the decision to allow him thinking he wasn't good enough to be on the basketball team to start creating that reality for him. But then
Yeah,
his parents was like, wait a minute, it don't have to be like that.
exactly.
So I think, touching on the parent side of things, I think it's we have to help our kids see it as just a decision, just a choice, and shift the perspective to
Cognitive
the next
reframing.
See,
the next
listen. Now
step.
that's why we're gonna have you here for parent to parent too, and make sure that your voice and perspectives are heard. Because
Absolutely.
from the teen side, right? From the teen side, and we're not because we have the unique ability right now. You're over Gen Z. These aren't your children. These are your mentees, right? Like you auntie, right? To a lot of these young kids, you cousin, you cuz or
Auntie.
whatever, you sis. Maybe I call you
TT.
whatever, whatever. Now that's a little
I
too
don't
old. I'm we are in these places. These aren't our children. So when we talk about teaching them, I want us to engulf and enmesh into their perspective and us to go back into we're going to talk to their parents and let them know what they need to do in a second. But from a team perspective, two things. How do we teach the balance of taking accountability, right? Without losing self-worth? Like, yeah, that's a mistake, right? And you can take accountability for that mistake, but we don't have to. I'm not getting ready to. You're not a dog. I'm not going to drag your face in it and that type of thing. How do
Right,
we
and
do
that's what
that?
I was getting into. Like, the parenting role is important, but I think on the child side, on the teen side, that is where they have to allow um, respected voices in their village to push them in that direction, because you still could make the choice to continue in, allowing that one choice to frame your identity and completely
That's
shutting
good.
out the positive voices that are in your ear trying to shift you. But if you're not open to hearing that, and if you're not receptive, then you will, you'll
Yeah.
continue making those choices, even though that's not who you are.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Bro, do
so I
you
think we have to encourage them to be open, also to being honest and
yeah.
transparent about some of the choices that you're even thinking about making or have made, um, so that we can we can help.
So when they and my brain just left, but I'm
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I wanted to bring you in, John, to that conversation, kind of around recovering from that setback or recovering from that that mistake, and what does it take to, like you said, allow those voices in, but how does making that mistake create isolation, right? Like this seeming like what I heard you saying was like it'll push you into a form of isolation where you don't want to say anything to your mom, your dad, or nobody, right? And so now it's just you're a little embarrassed, and that shame, what we talked about, the shame
Yep.
is a cocktail of emotions: the guilt, the fear, the embarrassment, the confusion, all of that rounding up creates an isolation. And in your isolation, you can't make good decisions,
Right.
right? And how important is it to be able to speak that out and to have an elder or somebody be like, yeah, that's what it is? Oh, I did that. And be able to, help you bounce back.
How important is it?
Yeah.
I think it's very important.
Yeah.
And that's just, we talk about it all the time, but having that person who's created that safe space, an environment for you to be able to be vulnerable and express that. And I think a part of it too is, and we talked about it just in one of our other conversations, is the tone being set at home, right? What has been modeled right? For a child to know what taking accountability, or
Yeah.
not isolating themselves, to be able to actually come and express whatever those thoughts are that they're possibly, even dealing with,
Having.
kind of trying to filter in their mind and not knowing which way, or they're feeling they're being pulled and tugged, So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think just having that safe space or being modeled at home for them to be able to express what
So
what that is they're doing
as a
internally.
kid, y'all know we always try to make sure that in this space we leave y'all with the tool, right? To make sure that it's not just we're not just talking about this stuff, right? We totally understand where you are, and we're not saying it as parents. We're saying it as we were there. What's the tool? What's the tool for this week that they've worked on, they've had in their curriculum, in their self pace? What is the tool that we're leaving them with?
The resilience reflection sheet.
What's that?
And this reflection sheet helps teens to walk through a past mistake by answering what happened first, what did I learn, what would I do differently, what does trying again look like now, which builds emotional processing skills and future focused thinking.
See, this sounds really lame, right? It sounds really kind of lame and corny. And why do I want to do this? But sometimes, if you want to get better at anything, the best way to get better, it's clarity comes after the failure. Oftentimes, sometimes you got to try to go one way, and then you see or try some way, and then you fail. You're like, oh.
Yep.
So now it's in that that if you go back and actually replan, recalibrate, and rethink, you can rediscover some things, and then you're able to respond differently.
Yeah.
And that's how you're truly able to process and go through. That's a process. You're truly able to process, kind of the different things that you go through and you've went through, and then you'll feel the emotions. Like as you're processing, you may cry, right? As you process it, you may feel a little bit embarrassed or ashamed, and you got to remember you're fine, you're okay.
Yep, everything's okay.
And so as we leaving, Mickey, what's one message about mistakes that you wish every teen, not just teen girl, but especially teen girl? We'll go back. You teen girl, John, you give teen boy. What would you say one message that you want or wish every teen would carry?
It's just a choice. It's just a decision that, and unfortunately, life is like you're gonna make mistakes. You're going to fail. You're gonna fall. You're gonna slip up. That does not mean that that's your story. That's the end of your story. It could just absolutely be the beginning of a beautiful story. So look at it as a stepping stone towards the next best decision, as opposed to looking at it as a mistake or that mistake defining who you are.
I like that. So that message, if I'm hearing you right, that message is it's not a mistake, it's a decision. It's just one. It's just a decision. Like we were talking about consequences. I like that. Boom. Give me that's it. Don't get stuck there. That's the message. Don't get stuck there. It's only one decision.
Next gear.
What's your message for the fellas?
I would definitely, even to kind of tag on to that point. But yesterday's gone, The only thing we can do is focus in the present moment, and then do the work in the present to create the future that we want to see.
Yesterday's gone.
Yep.
Tomorrow's not promised.
Tomorrow's not promised.
All
But
you got is today.
We got today. And so.
Ooh, I like that.
Yep. That's
Live
it.
for the day. So,
That's it.
y'all know I'm a geek. Y'all know I'm a nerd. Proudly. So I'm gonna say this to you from the science space and the recovery space, because if we go here to the top, that's one of the things that we said. This is about recovery, resilience, and recovery. Right? It is a trauma response to think that you have to make every decision right. It is a trauma response. So to recover from a trauma response, imagine this. You need to make mistakes. So you can learn that it's okay to make mistakes. And it's just one decision. You don't have to get stuck there. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow's not promised. And you still only have today.
Yeah.
So make decisions.
That's it.
Mistakes come. Clarity comes after failure. Person who fails first wins first. You understand?
Yeah.
And so listen, how can they find us, John?
As always, in that right top corner of your community, we got a chat box. In there, you'll find all of our coaches. You can tap in with any of them, chop it up if you have any questions. You've heard something or whatever came on your heart, you can reach out to any one of the coaches. We'll be able to chop it up with you or book a one-on-one session.
And Mickey's on there too, so make sure.
To go into a deep dive session.
Oh, Micaiah. Yeah, I know that's babe. So I mean, it is what it is. So I just say it.
So yeah,
that's how they can find you, Micaiah. We thank you for being on here. We're gonna have you with the parents and y'all. You know, we're also here every week. You know, we have our weekly life groups. Please make sure you're on the calendar. Register when you can. Thank you for listening to the Finding Life podcast, Gen Z Coaching Corner, with Life, Coach John, and special guest Micaiah Dion. Remember, a mistake is a moment, not your identity. Keep learning, keep trying, and keep becoming.